Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tormek Live Sharpening classes and this special edition. As most of you know, we have our 50 years anniversary this year. So we have created a small concept store, a Tormek museum, and also a small exhibition with a lot of talented Tormek users. So the idea today is that we will guide you through our new exhibition. With me to help, we have a newcomer, Hugo. Welcome, Hugo.
Thank you. Hi.
I will let you present yourself.
Yeah, I work here at Tormek in marketing, doing a lot of stuff on the web and copywriting and so on.
Yeah.
Writing texts for the museum.
Exactly. So that's why I have invited Hugo. No one knows the contents of the museum better than him, since he's a guy behind all the texts. What we have behind here is the entry for our exhibition, but it's also the entry for the staff. So every morning when staff come to Tormek, they walk this door. If you look over to my right, the dark blue piece there, that is the Tormek factory where all Tormek machines are assembled. And for you who follow our lives often, the big windows here is the Tormek studio where we do almost all our lives. Should we get going, Hugo?
Yes, let's go.
Follow us in to the Tormek Concept Store we'll start with. Great. So down the stairs here you have the dressing room for the staff and some staff, a gym and a bit of other stuff. We won't go down there, but also why I'm telling you that this is a staff is that it might someone passing by during the live. So if you see someone passing by, don't be afraid. It's only Tormek staff. Great. Here we have the Tormek store. Where do you want to begin?
Well,
Hugo?
We can begin with the most obvious thing we see here. It's the pattern on the window. It's 50 annual rings as from a tree that we had put here to symbolize the 50 years we have been in business now. And then it's a room where we have our entire product line. So we can take visitors here for the first time actually in Tormek history to welcome visitors and open business. We're open for business.
Yeah, and we have never sold directly before like this, but now we have a mini concept store for the anniversary, and also, as you say, we have never invited people from outside into into the headquarters. So this is new for us. We also have, except perhaps we should walk into the
let's go.
Concept store.
Yeah.
Because we have, as you say, the full product line.
Yes.
But we also have some merch. We have our usual merch, but then we have some 50 years anniversary merch.
Yeah, we have this 50-year anniversary hat, which is very nice, I think, with a corduroy, brown corduroy. And we have this sweatshirt with a 50-year logo. Also t-shirts we sell, along with a bunch of other merch. The Tormek C# cup, the Try This at Home Tormek T1 apron, and some stickers, some fridge magnets, a key ring, whatever you might have.
Yeah, so a couple of items you will find always elsewhere, but some of them are unique for the Tormek Mini Concept Store. Also, we have a special corner here. What do we find here?
Well, here you find a sharp deal. It's products that might have some minor blemishes just from appearance. So fully functional, but products that we can't sell to our resellers. So here you can find the selection of products with minor blemishes at a discounted price.
Great. What I forgot to mention when I started is that the opening hours you will find the link here below, and we're open during all summer, not all days, but most of the days. And the full exhibition museum and the store will be open until the end of September. Then we will have parts of it open. The exhibition will disappear, but click on the link below and you will find all information regarding opening hours. Great. Should we move on to the Tormek Museum?
Yeah, we're gonna pass our maybe our main piece on our way out here, the Tormek TA Black. It's our anniversary machine, and it has a 50-year warranty, 5 years upon purchase, and 45 extra years when you register. And we will have it available here. If it goes out of stock at all our resellers, we are going to have hopefully the last piece here.
Yeah, it's a limited edition. We did 5,600 of them, and except the ones we have here, they're sold out to importers and resellers around the world. But we put aside quite a few to be sure that we won't go out of stock. So if you're in the US and you don't find the T8 Black, just take the plane over and buy it.
Yeah.
It might be far for some of you viewers, but if we also have Swedish viewers looking at our English episodes, so we will always have the T8 Black in stock.
We'll try.
Yeah, as long as it...
Yeah, as long as it's available.
Great. And here we come to the Tormek Museum. First of all, what we see here is our guest book. So if you have the possibility to pop by, please sign it. We have already visitors from Czech Republic, France, England, Germany, Sweden, of course. But it's fun. I hope that everyone that passes by, please fill it in. It's fun to see where we have visitors from all over the world. Yes. Should we step into the museum?
Yes, let's move into our Tormek Museum, Tormek, a Sharp Story.
And the first we see is our founder, Torgny Jansson.
Greeting us with a smile.
Yes, in different epochs.
Yeah, so here we see him back in I think this must be the 70s or early 80s. And yeah, well, he's the mind behind Tormek. We wouldn't exist without his innovation. So he founded Tormek back in '73, and here we tell a bit about the man behind the idea.
And the story is that his father was a carpenter and a woodworker, and he didn't have a good way to sharpen his tools. So for his father's birthday, Torgny wanted to make a birthday present for him, so he made the Tormek. And he was satisfied with the result and realized that this could perhaps be something that could be sold. And from there, the rest is history, as you can say. Great. And if we move on to this wall, it's to put attention to our community. So you guys watching there, tell us more about what we have done in this corner.
Yeah, well, as the headline reads, the world's sharpest community, in our opinion. And that's you guys using the Tormek every day, creating amazing pieces in whatever you might be doing. So we are, Tormek is sold in over 40 countries. We have users all over the world, very skillful craftspeople, sharpening services, chefs, home cooks, you name it. I mean, we wouldn't be anything without our users, and we wanted to make a celebration here in the museum, a permanent celebration for our users.
Great. Thank you. Should we move on to this wall? I mentioned earlier with Torgny making the first machine for his father's birthday, and here we have Torgny's father, Erik, and his diary. Tell us a bit more about.
Yeah, well, Erik was very involved in Tormek. He got the very first prototype from Torgny, as you mentioned. And when he started making it a business, Erik was very involved and actually worked in Tormek. And he wrote a journal of, well, basically the first few steps of Tormek from 71 or 2, I think, from even before Tormek was started until 78, when he sat down and wrote down all of this. So it's big happenings, small happenings, business happenings, private happenings, and it's a story about the start of Tormek.
It's fun to read, but it has also been very helpful for us making this museum, that everything is so well written and preserved from the beginning of the company.
It's as if Erik knew that we were going to build a museum one day. So it's,
And as you said, there are big things and smaller things. It could be into details, as he lost his wallet into the river.
That's one thing noted on one day as a special occasion, and other things are the forming of the company and selling the first big batch of machines and so on. So it's
both bigger things and everyday things as well.
Yeah, which is very, very fascinating and fun to read. It's a time capsule.
Yeah, it's really fun to see. Yeah. If we move on to the next corner, we have our culinary section, where we show what we have done through the years within the culinary. It all started out in 1986 with the Tormek PR250. Am I correct, Hugo?
Yeah, that's where we started. At least we had one machine before that was from our original system, but this is the first one that was purely made and designed for the professional kitchen. As you can see, it's a lot wider than the regular Tormek machines.
Yes.
And that was because you wanted to be able to sharpen long blades, basically. You still had the stone you had with water. You had the leather honing wheel. So, I mean, it was a bit of a struggle getting into kitchens really much, since water and honing compound creates a bit of a mess in a clean environment as a kitchen. It's more suited for a workshop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we had a small upgrade with a stainless one, that 4000, but which was very similar to the PR250. But then finally 2015, a big step for us within the culinary industry happened, and that was mostly due to the finding of the diamond wheel.
Yeah. So that allowed for sharpening without water, which is very good in a kitchen environment, since that won't create as much mess. We had the composite honing wheel, which didn't require any honing compound. And of course, the guide, and which has stepless angle setting, makes it super easy, super fast, which is demand in professional kitchens.
Yeah, and makes it's possible for everyone in the kitchen to use it without and being able to respect the angles.
So it was a big hit, and it even got a prize at the London restaurant show for best new invention, best new product.
Great, but then it's not only professionals cooking at home. So 2021 we decided to find a solution for the home chef as well, the Tormek T1. Similar to the T2, smaller scale, more compact.
Very much inspired with the diamond wheel and composite honing wheel as well.
A bit more sleek design, I would say. The idea is to have it on the tabletop always. So we wanted to make it a bit more aesthetic as well, with the oak handle and.
But it has the same guide, the same. So the method is still the same as the professional, and it's the same result, but it's certified for home use and gives sharp knives to every home.
Yeah, great. Should we move on? So we are known for our quality, but to obtain high quality, it's important to have the best material in the machines.
Yes.
And here we have a piece of skin.
Yes, it's leather.
Leather.
From a bull.
Yeah.
So this is from a very renowned tannery called Tärnsjö Garveri, or Tärnsjö Tannery here in Sweden. And this is a Swedish bull. It has grazed on Swedish pastures, and it's naturally tanned. So it's a natural process. Which is something that's very good for us.
Yes, and we're using it in our leather honing wheel for people
And fun fact about that is that why we only use bull's leather is because cows, they produce leather which is 2 millimeter thick, and the bulls, they provide 4 millimeters thick leather. So the leather on our honing wheels are 3 millimeter thick. So we can't use the leather from cows, but we have to sand down the leather from a bull from both sides to make it 3 millimeter thick to be perfect. And we can feel the different qualities because this is an entire side of a bull's, and we use the entire product as well. So here up along the back, it's much more stiff, and moving down to where the leg is, it's much more elastic and flexible. So we have to account for that when producing the leather strips for the honing wheels as well. Measure the elasticity and make it the perfect length. So we can use every part of the piece.
It's a long story, and this is just one material used in the Tormek.
Yes.
But if we had the time and you had the patience to listen to us, every single detail on the machine, I would say, would have almost as long of a story, and how thought through and thoroughly we have chosen the materials, since we are expected to have 8-year warranty, or now on the black 50-year warranty. People expect for our machines to hold, and so that's very important for us.
Yes.
In 1973, Torny invented the Tormek, but he got inspiration from elsewhere. He wasn't the first that had the water sharpening or the water-cooled sharpening.
Yeah, the method is centuries old.
Yeah.
And as we see here, this is an example of hand-cranked grindstone, which used to be found in basically every Swedish farm. Actually, I heard the story from Torgny's daughter, Karin, that the first spark of an idea of making an automation of this thing was when he used to crank this for his father at their farm. So
he realized there was a lot of work and tried to find a shortcut.
Yeah, but he also knew that this was the best quality.
Yeah.
It's a slow rotating stone going through water. It doesn't destroy any annihilation or tempering of the steel, and it doesn't take away too much material. So it's same, very basic method, but now automized.
Great. We move on to the machines. We won't go too much into detail here. We have a whole episode in our live classes where we talk about the Tormek machines through history. So if you want more detail, look in our library and you will find that episode. We also have a second episode where we talk about how to upgrade your old Tormek. So you have almost 2 hours just on the machines that you can look on. What we can show just quickly is the first prototype that Torny made for his father. He chose red back then. And then we have the very first Tormek machine. And from the beginning you saw it was just a small universal support, not the full length. And we didn't have all the jigs. It was also driven by a drill the first couple of years, as you see down here. And then we moved on in 1979, the first motorized machine came, yes. And that was not very long-lived because it was driven with a timing belt, or how is it called?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the ideal way of using it. So in 1982, we made the first, I would say, modern Tormek as we know today, which is SA250, and this one you will find in most workshops. There's still many out there.
Yeah.
It was with us for quite some time, and then in 1989 we went for the 2000 machine. It became green. It got the horizontal support as well, so you could sharpen with the direction of the stone. And to be able to come closer, we made
chamfer the edges to be able to sharpen and hone using the horizontal base.
And in '92, the first smaller Tormek came out, the 1200.
Yeah.
And then we move forward all the way until today's machine, with the T4 being the compact model, the T8 being our bigger model, and the T4 bushcraft is also available. You can see the similarities from the very first Tormek to today's Tormek, but there have always been small improvements. For example, now we have the zinc body with perfect precision. We have the water trough that it can lower and heighten. So it's small details, but it makes it way user-friendlier than it was back in the days.
Yes.
But as I said, if you want more information, look in the library.
Yeah.
Great. We have been talking about quality. We have been talking about our community. And another thing that is very dear to us is innovation. Because we think we always need to progress.
Check out this.
Oh, I skipped the most important for you, marketing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hugo.
Yeah, working in marketing.
The marketing wall. I was so eager talking innovation.
Yeah.
Tell us about the marketing wall.
Yeah, well, here we just showcase a bit development of the brand over the years, and our packaging and our web and our product leaflets. One thing I would like to point out especially is this here, the Band-Aid or the plaster, the Tormek plaster, which is now delivered with each machine that we sell. And that started out as just a care for our customers, because we found out that a lot of times they cut themselves on the newly sharpened edges when testing them.
So from the beginning it wasn't a marketing stunt, it was Tormek being a very practical guy, but it turned out now.
Yeah. And this photo, it is from the Tormek users Facebook group.
Yeah.
And that's Fred Barkley, who has provided us and let us use his image of a classic thing when you first use your Tormek, test the sharpness, and then...
The Band-Aids come in handy.
Yes.
Great. So, sorry for missing marketing. We go back to innovation. And as I said, our community is very important, quality is very important, and innovation has been very important for us. Because if the machine would have been the same as it was 50 years ago, I don't think we would have had the same success. So we always try to develop and find new solutions. We have a lot of patented products, and one being the drill bit attachment, for example, but we also have smaller patents that people don't think about in every day. Please tell us, what could a patent be? Yeah, well, as we show here, we ask the question, can you patent a hole? And the fact is that Tormek can. We have actually two patents for two separate holes. It's a stadium-shaped hole and this other bit conical shaped hole. And those can seem as nothing big, but actually they provide something very useful for stability and for precision. So I think you, Sebastian, know about the conical hole. It's called the Torlock, this shape, and it creates more than 250% higher locking power than a normal round hole would do. And it comes very handy, for example, in the drill bit attachment, which is heavy, the DBS22. There you find the Torlock. You will find the Torlock on the TT50, the truing tool, which makes it more stable, and also on the SVX 150. Yeah, scissor jig. So you will find it in many different places on the Tormek, and I think as a user you don't think about it, you just find it stable and working well. But the Torlock is one reason for it working well. Yeah, I saw the drawings of it. I mean, it's a huge work going into this hole. You can look up the patent. And another thing that's important to point out is the universal support. Actually, it was developed in 1984, and we have developed it further with fine adjustment and stuff like that. But it is all centered around the universal support. Very simple, very not so
complicated of an idea, but it didn't exist before Torgny made it.
No.
And that's what the entire system is based around,
Yeah.
and built around, the possibility to use it the way you do.
And we worked a lot of improving the precision on that,
Yeah.
because the better precision that is, the better precision in sharpening. It's very central in the whole sharpening thing. The handbook, which comes in a lot of different languages, I think it's almost 12 different languages. I know Torgny was very keen on it and worked a lot of hours on it. And here we see different versions of it and upgrades through the years. Also different languages. I think we have German and English and Swedish.
Yeah, it was hardcover at some point.
If we move on to our jigs, things, not only the machines has improved through the years, we also have had improvements on our jigs. First we have our knife jigs. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, well, that's when most people think about sharpening, they usually go straight to knife sharpening, because a knife is something that everybody uses. And we have had different versions of the knife jigs throughout the years with a long handle, which Torgny got tired of people using it wrong, so he decided to chop it off. It was made from aluminum. We went over to zinc and the shorter handle, and then just about 1.5 to 2 years ago we released our latest KJ jigs with the centering knife jigs. So it's small changes throughout the years, but the idea is to just make it a little bit better all the time where we can.
Exactly, and the improvements often come from the community, and we find people using it having problems. For example, with a long handle, they were holding it like this, and they lost stability. So the improvement came from there. We saw people sometimes not getting the same angle on certain types of knives on both sides, so we made the self-centering knife jig. So I would say all evolution comes from a need that the Tormek users have, and we try to improve the jigs from that.
Yeah.
From there.
But it's a long process.
Yes. I make it sound easier. I'm not an innovation.
Yeah.
Great. Should we move on to the SVD 186R as we know it today? We have seen a lot of development there as well, but this has been a very central jig in the Tormek history. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, it's because the SVD 180, as it was called when it first came out, was what took Tormek into the wood turning community and made Tormek a staple and an obvious choice for many wood turners, because it had the ability to sharpen these very complex gouges and gouges with complex geometry. So it was, and also you have the TTS 100 setting up, being able to replicate bevel each time to a very high precision. It's turned out very well for the wood turning community. Yeah,
and we're still big within wood turning. Thanks to the SVD 186 primarily.
Yeah.
If we move on to the DBS 22, the drill bit attachment, which is our most advanced jig, also our biggest. This was Torgny's last masterpiece, you could say, in his career, and he was very satisfied about it and very proud of it. And I understand it's a fantastic jig. You might not recognize the machine it's sitting on. It was called the D4. What can you tell us about the D4?
Yeah, well, it's a machine that never got publicly launched, so to speak. It was thought to be sold to mechanical workshops along with the drill bit jig or drill bit attachment. But I mean, it didn't flew. Many of them already had Tormek machines with universal support. So we then decided just to sell the DBS 22 drill bit attachment separately, since people already had machines with universal supports.
And it has been a success story. Money-wise, it's our best-selling jig, and it's exactly the same as he designed it 2010.
Yeah, it hasn't changed a bit.
So he would be very happy if he were around today to see the success it has had. We also see improvements here from the SE77, as we know today. It began with the SVH60, or there was even a jig before that.
Yeah, there was an SF60 that was for the Tormek machines with that small support that you showed. But this was the first one designed for the universal support.
Yeah.
It was very simple, as you see. Not many knobs.
No.
There has been several more knobs added to it over the years. And they all have a function, of course.
So it has really, here you can see just by looking at it that it's more advanced in many ways.
Yeah, and change of materials and so on.
Yeah. Then we have the TT50 as we know today. In the beginning it was very basic and handmade, and it was just a, how do you call it, a spike or
we have the English...
we can cheat.
Yeah, let's look at the cheat sheet.
Stud.
A stud, a tire stud.
A tire stud. And nowadays we have a diamond, and it's way more precise. I actually tried the very first one, and
you pulled it by hand.
Yeah. So the improvement has really been impressive, and this is a very important tool for us to always keep the stone perfectly flat and perfectly round.
Yeah.
If we come over to the next wall here, we have. First of all, the anniversary machines. So we have the T8 Black, of course, as we talked about before, but we also have the 40-year anniversary machine, which was produced in 3,450
copies.
Copies, yes. So that's the two anniversary machines we have done through the years.
Yeah.
So we might have collectors out there that perhaps have both of them. If we move up, we will see machines that never saw the light of day. We have had a lot of, we work a lot of innovation, and people see things coming out on the market, but there are a lot of things that never come out on the market.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this white machine?
Not that much, to be honest. Doing the research for this museum, I spoke to loads of people, but no one really seemed to remember or know what this machine was supposed to be for. But we had it in our storage. We don't know, it's all white in the housing, it's an all white stone. And I don't know, maybe we had some guesses that it's for hospital or maybe for the UN, someone joked. But we actually don't really know. So if you have any ideas, you viewers, you can please go ahead and comment in the comment section below here and give us an idea what this might be.
The white being very clean, then we have a T4 that is a bit more chaotic. What is the story about behind that?
Yeah, well, this is actually a test housing for the Tormek T4 Bushcraft. We had made it first for as just a limited edition machine, but then it went very well, so we decided to take it into our ordinary product line.
Yeah.
So we tested a bit with the various housings. This is a hydro-dipped housing with a camouflage pattern that was tested and was maybe I think was for the US market, but it was very expensive way of giving it the pattern, and also a bit maybe too chaotic of a look. Yeah, so we are very happy with the green sleek Tormek T4 Bushcraft that we have today.
Great. Then we have a masterpiece here, the only Tormek in the world in 24 carats of gold, and this we made for when we had made 500,000 machines in 2011. So it's pure 24 karat gold, but
plated, we should say.
Plated, yeah, it's not all the way through. And also, what can be mentioned is that everyone working at Tormek at the time has been together assembling the machine. So everyone has assembled at least one piece, something we did together. I don't know when we will have done 1 million machines, but we will see if we can make a diamond Tormek or whatever. We'll see. Great. Then before we move on to the exhibition, we have one last thing we would like to show you. I think it's the world's first sharpening shower. What is a sharpening shower, Hugo?
Well, a sharpness shower is where you can step inside and clean your senses in the sound, visual. Yeah, I get lost of words just looking at this. It's an audiovisual experience where you can experience really sharp tools cutting through a soft wood. This is actually relief carver Karsten Nilsson,
Yes.
who is performing this beautiful carving.
I don't know if it comes through as well through the camera as it does live, but if you have the possibility to swing by our museum, I really recommend to take a minute in the sharpening shower. It's fun.
Very satisfying.
Great. That was the museum. Should we move on to the exhibition and all our talented Tormek users and ambassadors?
Let's go.
Sorry about the sound here. The sound won't be ideal, so I will lower my voice a little. It makes an echo. I hope you bear with us. Hugo, what can you tell us about? I can start perhaps. We have a lot of really good ambassadors all over the world. Here in the exhibition, they're all very talented, but we also tried to find people doing different crafts to show the variety of the Tormek, how you can use the Tormek machine and the variety of tools. So we had many different, not only wood or knife sharpening as many would expect, but a bit of everything.
Yeah. So it's very broad, but what they all have in common is that they use the Tormek for what they do.
Yes. First of all, we have Sergio Macedo Neto, which is a Brazilian miniature creator, and he does extremely fine work with very small pieces, and you could imagine that you need very fine tools, but also very sharp tools to be able to create what he has created. It's super impressive.
Yes.
If we move on, we have a Swedish guitar maker, David Sundberg. What can you tell us about him?
Well, he's a very talented luthier and guitar builder who makes beautiful guitars for very talented artists. For example, he's built guitars to Ryan Adams and Keith Richards. So very high quality guitars.
And high renommee all over the world.
Yes.
Then we have Daniel Wester, who has made spoons. What can you tell us about Daniel?
Yeah, well, as you can see, these spoons will be quite difficult to eat with, so they're more art pieces. But he's known for his way of doing these very long, thin carvings, spoons or bowls or stuff like that.
And you can imagine they weren't very easy to transport here.
We had an issue with the first ones he sent us, but
now they are here and very beautiful.
Yes.
Great. Should we move on to a bit of different? This is, if I understood it correctly, salmon leather.
Yes.
And Daniel Ankarstrand.
Daniel Ankarstrand and his brand Christian Ede, who makes salmon leather accessories. Very beautiful, taking this byproduct that would otherwise be thrown away and using it to make something very beautiful and exclusive. And he also makes his own tools. He uses old tools and restores them or changes them to work the way he needs them to in his craft.
And sharpen them on the Tormek.
He sure does.
If we move on, we have a bigger piece, but beautiful as well, from William Douglas from the US. What can you tell us about William?
Yeah, well, this piece was shipped to us over the Atlantic, and William Douglas is very talented furniture maker, wood craftsman. He has a shop, and he resides in Phoenix, Arizona.
Great. And then we move on.
Tormek friend.
Yes, he will be visiting us after this summer. We're looking forward to it.
Yes.
And then we have a couple of tool makers, them all being Swedish, all being well known worldwide, and high quality, high-end toolery. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, well, we have Hans Karlsson, Kliensmide, very well known for the quality tools that they make. It's a family business here in Sweden. They test the sharpness of each tool on a piece of wood before shipping it out, and they sharpen each tool on a Tormek before testing them up. We have Julia Kalthoff, Swedish axe maker, who is very talented, has a long history in axe making, and has her own brand, Kalthoff Axes, where she makes carving axes exclusively at the moment. Also very well renowned for her quality and her focus and attention to detail in creating a good carving axe. And then we have Torbjörn Åman, which you can actually check up here on YouTube. He has a channel with over 700,000 subscribers. And he's very talented, as I've heard gossip from other ambassadors, that he will succeed in anything he does in blacksmithing. Okay. Very nice guy.
Great, thank you. And then we have our knife maker section, where we have Florentine kitchen knives and Tomer Botner, an Israeli that lives in Barcelona. He has a very specific style, so you will quickly recognize his style, but they are not only aesthetically appealing, they're also very well balanced, and his primary audience is professional chefs that have very high demands on the exact balance on knives. So the first one is from his line, and the other one is a limited edition made in 2 samples for us. One went to a giveaway, and the other one is hanging here.
Yes.
Then we have a more local
talent, Fredrik Spåre.
Yes.
Who is also very renowned for his quality and the geometrics, being able to thin out knives very thinly, and all are hand forged. And he is also focusing on the function and has a huge customer segment in the professional chefs. And he makes this also very beautiful bread sword, as he calls it.
Impressive.
Both beautiful and extremely functional.
Great. Then we move on to Karsten Nilsson, who has made a colorful piece. Karsten was the guy that you saw carving in the Sharpening Shower. What can you tell us about Karsten?
Yeah, well, he's a Swedish relief carver, and he does these beautiful and very detailed works. Has done pieces for the Lund Cathedral and the Sweden Parliament building. So his works are out there and very beautiful and detailed.
Yeah, it's very nice, and it really pops out with being so colorful here.
Long time Tormek friend.
Yes. Then we move on to Andreas Söderlund, who is a Finnish guy living in Norway, super talented, does turning, but also carving in general, and he is very good aesthetically arranging the pictures as well. And him being good at that and talented makes beautiful pieces. And also a good friend of us that has visited us several times.
Yeah.
Then we move on to another old Tormek friend, Nick Agar. What can you tell us about Nick?
Yeah, well, Nick is a British woodturner who lives in US. He's in Savannah, Georgia. He is also very renowned for his techniques, both in wood turning. Of course, he has a wood turning school and teaches wood turning, but also treating the wood and painting it to look, as you can see here, very much like metal. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know that this is actually all wooden.
He was a forger or metal worker, if you just saw it.
Yeah.
Not a turner. Great. Then we have Ann Karlholm that also has done a very fine piece. What can you tell us about that?
You know, she's a Swedish contemporary craft wood artist, and she's based in Stockholm. She does these beautiful carvings, just joinery, very detailed, very fine arts. Super nice.
Great. Then we move on to another friend from the US, Alex Carmona, also visiting us this fall. bigger piece. What is Alex's expertise?
He's also relief carving, but he relief carves print originals and makes prints. So he's done works for this huge car show and for Fender, for a lot of great works. And you can see the detail and imagine the hours of using sharp tools to get this fantastic piece here as well.
Great. If we move into the center, we have a very well-renowned French woodturner, Pascal Audet, which is famous for turning extremely thin pieces. So here you see that you can see through the wood how thin he turned it. And to be able to create something like that, you not only need to be extremely talented as Pascal is, but you also need to have very sharp tools, because if you get a catch at that thickness, you will have a problem.
Yeah.
Great. If we move on, we have Cécile Grand-Girard from France doing ceramics. What can you tell us about her?
Yeah, well, we actually found out through Instagram. She had tagged the hashtag Tormek in a video where she were sitting with doing ceramics and using this tool that you can see here to scrape the sides of the turning cups or whatever she were making at the time. And she actually sharpened this tool on a Tormek, which was very new for us. Tormek can be useful even for ceramics workers.
Great. And then we move on to our Austrian friend, thank you.
Yes.
Which is Maximilian Neukaufler. He's a wood carver, and he's perhaps most famous for his spoons and his very specific looks on his spoons. You can easily recognize his work.
Yes, and he also is actually a tool maker. So coming from the spoon carving world and knowing a lot about carving, he also knows what is demanded from a tool. So he uses Tormek on both his own tools and tools that he refurbishes and so on.
A man of many trades.
Yes, indeed.
Great. Then we have an English wood sculptor, Alison Crowther. What can you tell us about?
Alison Crowther, she's, as you said, she's based in Britain and known for her very massive geometrical pieces. This is a smaller piece, but she also has these huge carvings. So it's a whole team, and she's the leader and the artistic with the ideas and the vision and the visionary. So she of course also very much works on all of this, making beautiful pieces often made of oak.
Great. Then we move on to something very Swedish, the dalahäst, Dala horse, and Lelles dalahästar.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the Dala horse?
Yeah, well, it's obviously a very classic Swedish symbol for Sweden. And actually how they make it is how they saw out the first horse you can see here, and then they take it out to carvers sitting at home. They take out a bunch of unfinished horses along with knives that they sharpen on a Tormek. They dump them to them, they can carve them out, make them beautiful, and then they take them back and deliver them to painters. And some of them are both carvers and painters working from home, but it's a very sleek process. Many beautiful horses come from Tormek sharpened knives.
Great. Then above we have Jonas Ahls, which is a Danish wood turner and wood sculptor, and he has turned this vase, but it's turned in a special way. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's a cross-grain hollow form, and it makes this kind of beautiful pattern, as you can see from the annual rings, and it's quite hard and difficult to turn this way. As you can see, the wood moves, it cracks, and in one place he has mended a crack with the spruce roots. So it's a very beautiful, very organic looking piece.
Great. Then we have our good friend Glenn Lucas, who is a wood turner and also and famous for his bowls. He has done more bowls than anyone else, I think. He has been a good Tormek friend for many years. Mm-hmm. We have had help from him developing the Tormek system within wood turning as well. Super talented, super friendly, and also a very good teacher.
Yeah, he has a school as well in Ireland, where he teaches wood turning to people from all over the world.
Then we have a talented Swedish girl, Molly Sjöstam, who has done this beautiful piece. What can you tell us about Molly?
Yeah, well, she is a fantastic wood carver, focusing on carving floral pieces. It can be ornament pieces like this, or it can be spoon handles or knife handles or what have you, jars. And she mainly focuses on doing these floral carvings, but also a bit other things like Swedish fika she incorporates in her work.
Builds on the Swedish brand.
Yeah.
Great. Then we move on to completely something else. Huge shoe.
Yes.
What can you tell us about this?
I'm not going to say the last name because my German pronunciation isn't what it should be. Mm-hmm. His first name is Hartmut, and he is a German shoemaker who makes orthopedic shoes. So this is an actual shoe. I don't know if the size comes through the video, but it's a size 65 shoe, which was made for one of the tallest men in the world, who was 2 meters 56 centimeters tall, who unfortunately passed away before he could get this shoe. So,
but he sharpens all his leather tools on the Tormek.
Yeah, he's a very, very Tormek fanatic. Yeah. He actually writes about how to use Tormek in shoemaking and leather craft. So he's written books all about it.
Then we move all the way to Australia and our friend Terry Martin, who has done a beautiful bowl. What can you tell us about them?
This is also amazing, the hollow form. It's hard to imagine how to even make this. And also an interesting detail about it is that the pattern on the top is actually the actual wood grain magnified under a magnifying glass, how it would look. So it's a bit meta and very beautiful.
Great. And then we move back to Sweden to Niklas Hallberg. And what has he done for us?
He has made this trough, classic Swedish trough, hand carved in aspen wood. So you can imagine the hours to have such a big piece and chopping it out with your adze and carving it out. It's tremendous work and quite difficult with such big pieces.
Great. Then we move on to our friend Brian Brown, who's Slovakian and is in a very niched business. He makes magic wands, but is leading within this world. And he makes beautiful wands, which he wood turns, and he also sells the whole story. So he's a big name within Harry Potter fans, and a great guy and a talented artist as well. We move on to Sina Menese Burloi from Romania, which is also a wood carver and does extremely fine detailed work. Tormek friend for many years. She was actually here for the opening of our Tormek studio. I think it's 8 years ago or something like that. So I got the chance to see her work live, and it's really super impressive.
Yeah, the geometrical patterns that she's known for, the high finish, it's super beautiful.
Great. I think that was a full tour. It was quite a long episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It is even better live. I understand not everyone has the opportunity to come see it live. If you have questions, you can ask them in the commentary below, and we will try to answer them as best as possible. Thank you, Hugo. I think you did a great job in front of the camera live for the very first time.
Thank you.
I'm thinking about retiring and you taking my place.
I don't think we need that, but maybe it can deserve a like and a subscribe. If you aren't already subscribed, that would be amazing.
Please give Hugo a like and a subscribe. Thank you to the viewers for watching. To know the opening hours, you click on the link here below. We're going on summer vacation now, so we won't be doing this live until this fall again. So have a really nice summer. Take care of you all, and we will see each other this fall. Thank you.
Bye.